October the 2nd, 2025. Guys, we've been watching this bill go back and forth between the Democrats and the Republicans, and just as a reminder, and we've heard it during these meetings and votes they've had, that the Democrats are actually wanting to turn back the other bill that we watched them vote on called the BBB bill. Anyway, what's happening, guys, is they've seen, the reason they want to turn it back is they've seen what's happening to their illegal voters. And Trump made a beautiful meme on that, or he didn't make it, he just posted it, but the meme with Jeffries and Schumer in it, and the sombrero, and that's what I'm going to start calling Jeffries, is Sombrero Jeffries. Anyway, those guys are lying through their teeth, and what they did, they saw that over 1 million illegal immigrants have self-deported because they have been, either their license is taken for being an illegal truck driver, or all the complaints are there, or if they are thinking they're not going to get the free handouts, they are self-deporting, and it has scared Sombrero and Schumer to death because their party will blame them, the two leaders, and they can't. And they know that AOC and folks like that are chomping at the bit to take their jobs. Anyway, it's not about helping any American people. So before any trolls come on here and start talking about that, they're taking away from the poor people. This is illegal immigrant money. But Jeffries and Schumer cannot admit that when they know that we already know. But let's look at it for ourselves. This is subtitle B, Health, Chapter 1, Medicaid. And so, again, reducing fraud and improving enrollment processes. There's a moratorium, the 71101, on the implementation of rules relating to eligibility and enrollment in Medicare savings programs. It goes through that the deceased individuals, they can't remain on as enrolled. And the Democrats hate that too because that was part of their votes. Ensuring deceased providers do not remain on the rolls, payment reduction related to certain erroneous excess payments, eligibility redetermination, revising home equity limit for determining eligibility for long-term care services under Medicaid. But 71109, which is highlighted, alien Medicare eligibility. There it is. And when Sombrero had to read that out to Jake Tapper on CNN in his last video, he had to almost choke it down. But there it is. They're lying, guys. Alien Medicaid eligibility. They have to keep that because they're fighting. They know they're dying. The Democrat Party is over. It's obsolete. And I wouldn't say it's useless. It's very useful to the Communist Manifesto. But it's very detrimental to the citizens that want to keep this country great. And so, and again, right under that expansion for emergency Medicaid for the same group. So we know they're lying. Now let's look at a couple of other things. And on Breitbart this morning, the headlines, Democrats seek health care funds to help migrants not self-deport. They're losing their voters. They could care less if you really had health care. They've got to do anything. Again, the Sombrero video really was 100% truth. The Democrats, they squealed and whined and cried. It was pitiful. But anyway, that's what's going on. Let's see what they had to say. It says the Democrats are fighting, I say crying, to restart a pipeline of $20 billion in government health care aid per year to help migrants who face rising economic pressure to self-deport homeward. So Trump and his administration, they're playing not just beautiful chess, but beautiful 3D chess. In other words, the Democrats walk right into the hands of what Trump ran on, trying to save their sorry selves. They are of their father, who is the father of lies. President Trump's economic pressure on the migrants have reportedly forced roughly 1.6 million to self-deport. The number is likely to grow as administration officials pressure more businesses to shed illegal workers. And it's changing the migrants' calculations. There's no work they're talking about. They might as well go ahead. We can't get any free handouts. free handouts and let's just self-deport back to Mexico. And some people are kind of glad. The migrants' decision to go home will help raise Americans' productivity and living standards, and will provide their home countries with new skills and useful ambitions. But Democrats want the migrants to stay, and they want the federal government to cover their ballooning health care costs. And I saw one of the things with Maxine Waters yesterday on an interview, and this is exactly what she said. Democrats are demanding health care for everybody, admitted Mad Maxine, whose California district includes many illegals. The amount of money they actually is going towards people who are undocumented is a small portion, says Representative Ro Khanna. But it's not for them. But now it's just a small portion. But Maxine is saying we just want it for everybody. Yeah, as long as she doesn't have to pay for it. Without this federal funding, state Democrats in California, Minnesota, and other states will be forced to go through a painful process of cutting funds from their myriad of interest groups. Now, remember, Trump shut down how many billion from New York? Oh, and they are screaming. Kathy Hochul cannot believe that Trump would take away money from these demons. It says Democrats cared more about illegal aliens than American citizens. That's really a misnomer. They care about their votes. This is said in a post by Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt that names the programs which Democrats use to smuggle federal funding to health care for who? Illegal migrants. Pro-migration lobbies want the health care funding for the millions of hardworking migrants imported by Democrats from poor countries with little health care. They want the votes, and they want me and you to pay for the health care, guys. Again, Democrats and pro-migration lobbies. The same ones we saw along the border helping them get across. There's no California without Latinx Californians. Yes, there is. They just have to be legal Latinx Californians. We're not trying to do anything else. And recent state and federal cuts put their health and well-being at serious risk, the California Immigrant Policy Center claimed on September 4th. I wonder how much cartel and Soros money is involved in that group. State leaders must take bold action to protect and restore access to food, housing, health care, and education for all Californians. Guys, Californians got the lowest score in math for any high school in the nation, or in any state in the nation. Pretty rough, isn't it? The GOP's message is straightforward. Since the July bill signing, 2.3 million ineligible enrollees have been kicked off Medicaid. And if the Democrats get their way, American taxpayers' hard-earned dollars would be paying for benefits for illegal aliens again. This is Mike Johnson on CNN yesterday. He said, we're not doing it. And J.D. Vance said yesterday, why do these people, and he's talking about it, very often in the emergency rooms, waiting is an illegal alien. Very often it's a person who can't speak English. Guys, it's hard to get into the emergency rooms now unless you are an illegal, but you're paying for it. Vance said Wednesday, why do those people get health care benefits at hospitals paid for by American citizens? And some people say that's cruel. No, it's not, because the people that are saying it's cruel are not paying the taxes. Most of them aren't. But guys, there's a lot going on. This is day 3 of a geomagnetic storm. So you know what the effects are from that. We got a long, stretched out coronal opening. Some people call it a coronal hole, but it's an opening in the magnetic canopy. And we're in about 800 kilometers per second, which is well over 1 million miles per hour. And this is the 3rd day in a row. Now, I did notice that you can get still images from the SDO via some of the other sites, but NASA's complaining that they've shut down the movies on the Solar Dynamics Observatory because they have lack of funding. Now, I don't know if they forced them to do it. It's just part of, or maybe the Democrats that run NASA, that's part of their protest. Either way, we can do without them. We can handle it just fine. Trump could get a dozen of us, and they would get and give us the money, that they're getting paid for each one of us, and we can handle it a lot better with a lot less complaining and whining. Anyway, guys, we're watching it. There'll be updates coming very soon. It's a heads up. Be safe.